So, exploring the rose-red city and the Valley of the Moon. As you can see, this title looks good. However, if we want to check capitalization rules, we may consider that there are items here or there are words here that need to be capitalized. So, how to do that? What shall I capitalize? Well, before we talk about capitalization, we need to know that words come in types. We have content words and we have function words. So, what do you mean by content words? These are the words that actually carry most of the content in a text. So, if we're talking about a paragraph, usually, what types of words or parts of speech would we focus on to understand the text or to understand its ideas or its content? Think. Nouns. When we want to understand the text, we have to see what nouns we have there. They definitely carry a lot of content. They represent people, places, things, or ideas. But not only that, in addition to nouns, we have verbs. They express actions or states of being. Is that all? What do you think? Do we just focus on nouns and verbs to understand the content? Absolutely not. In addition to them, we have adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives describe nouns, and adverbs modify verbs and adjectives. So what about content words? Why did I mention them? Well, in English, when we want to write a title, if we have content words in this title, we need to capitalize the first letter of these content words. So, the golden rule is always capitalize the first letter of content words and titles. This rule helps for readability and it turns your title into a very professional one. Just like the title that we have here on the right hand, paragraph development, and notice that we have the P capitalized as well as the D in development. Other examples that we may cite include a walk to remember. A walk to remember. Notice here, we capitalize the A since it's the first letter. We capitalize the W in walk. And we capitalize the R in remember. The same can be said about to kill a mockingbird, where we capitalize to, since we begin the title with the T letter, we capitalize the K and we capitalize the M. Whenever we have any of the content words, we do need to capitalize the first letter. Now, what about the other type? I already told you we have two types of words, content words and we have function words. They are like the glue. So, they establish relationships between other words and they build sentence structure. They include articles, like a, an, and the. But not only that, in addition to this, we have prepositions, like in, on, at, by, etc. We may add to them pronouns and conjunctions, like he, she, it, and conjunctions like and, but, or, for, etc. Now, what about function words? What shall I do with them? This is a question you may ask. Simply, when it comes to function words, we need to write them in lowercase. When I have them in my title, I need to write them in lowercase, that is with a small letter. But there are exceptions. If I begin my title with a function word, I do need to capitalize the first letter. So, if we look at an example here, we have the Lord of the Rings. It starts with the, and we already said earlier that the is a function word. But because I start my title with it, I need to capitalize the T. Here's another example, and as you can see, you may be able to figure out why we have capitalized some of the words while we didn't capitalize the rest. Content words, that is, if I have a name of a person, if I have a noun, if I have an adjective or an adverb, I need to capitalize them, whereas function words, I would not capitalize them. So now that we have a good idea about content words and function words, let us actually return to the first title that we started with. So, exploring the rose-red city and the valley of the moon. Based on this, how should we write this title, or what should we capitalize? Let's look at the items that we have. Exploring, it is already with the capital E since we start with it. Then we have the. That is a function word, so I wouldn't capitalize it. But then I have rose red. And of course, this is like a compound adjective and it is describing city. So based on what we have discussed so far, what shall I do with it? I need to capitalize the R in rose and the R in red. So it is going to be with a capital R for rose and a capital R for red. What about city? It's a noun, and thus I need to capitalize the C. And is a function word, so I need to keep it as a lower a or as a small a in lowercase. That is a function word, so I don't capitalize the T letter. Valley of the moon, I need to capitalize the V in valley and the M in moon, but I need to have everything else in lowercase. So eventually it will look like this. Capitalize the C and the V in valley, and then we have the M. The last thing is to highlight that there are different style sheets. So what I explained here is maybe the most common style sheet when it comes to titles and how to handle capitalization. However, there are other ways or there are other strategies to deal with titles. So if you want to work within a company, a journal, a newspaper, the first thing that you need to know when it comes to titles is that you have to check their style sheet.